Party of Two right here. Welcome everybody to the Party of Two podcast, a theme parks podcast, where today we're talking about one particular theme park and a part of a theme park, a part of a theme park.
That's a lot of parks.
Well, no, it's still just the one, but I'm one of your hosts, the internet's Mark Donica.
I'm your other host, Andrea Donica.
Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about some Galaxy's Edge.
Woo woo, Star Wars!
Yay, hooray, boo, 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 hoo, Star Wars. Let's cry because it makes us so happy. We're talking about... we want to give a little bit more of a deep dive to our Star Wars fandom, because we've been Star Wars fans as long as we can remember. Stop us if you've heard that one before, but you've got what's kind of a rare item these days because we just uncovered it in the closet. We have a episode 1 era Trivial Pursuit, Star Wars Trivial Pursuit. And that's rare because with the Trivial Pursuits, it's only in Trivial Pursuit in general, especially if they're themed, there is a certain amount of production, and then they wait for the next movie, and then they put out another one, and then they stop producing that one, and then they put out another one. Ding, ding.
Sorry about that.
It happens. But I didn't totally just do the exact same thing. So we've had trivia challenges in that game, and that's helped us sort of latch on to these tiny little details in our heads.
There's so many details in the Star Wars universe.
Like
Trivial Pursuit illustrates how ridiculous some of it is, but hey, it's still fun.
And we're not saying we're like an Alex Damon or like a Star Wars Explained or some of those amazing content creators. No, but we've been in and around the galaxy far, far away for quite some time. And so for this, I figured we each come up with 3 things that we want them to do right, things that we're excited for, things that we're a bit in blue sky here because they've announced some stuff. There's a lot of rumors going around. It opens later this year, but we're really excited about it.
So excited.
Tell me how excited you are, Andrea. Great. I'm going to adjust that in post.
Oh.
But it happens. But
I'm freaking out. Well, no, when Iger came out and announced what was happening at D23, I was one of the people that was screaming in the audience. I was absolutely freaking out, so much so that I embarrassed you, I remember correctly.
I don't remember at all, so let's
just
go with it. You were like,
geez, sweetie, like, calm down. I'm like, this is Star Wars. They're finally doing what we want. Ish. Seemingly. I mean,
I can't recall at this time, so it must not have been that bad.
Yeah, you were trying to quiet me from being so excited. I mean, I was pretty loud, but I mean, I was surrounded by loud cheering people, so
yeah, you were amongst fellow people. I don't know why I think maybe you were almost hitting people. I don't know. Maybe you were flailing about Kermit style and causing some sort of a physical duress.
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, why don't we get started with one of the things that you want to talk about?
Okay, the first thing that I am really eager about, I was super excited when it came out that we'll be able to purchase droids in Galaxy's Edge. And while this is great news, I am also not somebody with deep pocketbooks, and I would say that I would hope that there are some affordable droid options. If that means that there's a really non-responsive gonk that I can get.
Are you kidding? Gonks are if you can get a mini gonk that's essentially like a cell phone charger, like you press one button it says gonk and the other button like turns on the battery part of it. Why haven't there been gonk power banks?
Why haven't there been more gonk everything? Well, and this is, I mean, merchandise is always where my mind goes to first, but there's so many opportunities here, and I know that they're going to be taking as many of those opportunities as they can, but please remember the people that already spent a lot of money just to come there. Make sure that there are options for everybody, even if there's something under $50, under $100. You know, of course, they're going to be the collectors that come in that are going to spend thousands of dollars on an exact R2-D2 replica.
Can you imagine if... So since they reported that somehow they'll be able to track everybody, can you imagine if by Magic Band, by Annual Pass, by whatever, they can track if somebody is a reseller or something, and so they upcharge them to make it more expensive to get a particular collectible? Because we have heard that there is going to be some, quote, haggling.
Yeah.
Because this is a real outpost. The Black Spire outpost is going to be an actual... We are going to be stepping into the Star Wars universe, into the planet of Batuu. So with that comes certain expectations of haggling down prices. And in some, I wonder, I mean, they probably won't be able to upcharge people, so to speak, but maybe they give them the maximum amount of what all of that is. Who knows?
I mean, again, it is still Disney. I'm sure they're not going to show us like one of the miniature BB-8s and go, okay, $500, bro.
Maybe. No, maybe they start there, and then part of the experience is talking them down.
The other thing too is there's going to be a cast member there, kind of helping you haggle and being a translator as well, mitigator on your behalf. So they might also be like, hey, he's taking advantage of you. Don't accept that offer, whatever you do. That would be actually kind of funny to watch in real time. I'm really curious as to how that's going to go down.
I also wonder, so this is a big... My list keeps adapting as we talk.
Yeah.
So going off of that, I'll say one of mine would be, in terms of authenticity, what if somebody knows these alien languages, how to speak these various alien languages, and can converse in that language with that particular species that might be around? Or will, like, you where did you see that there's going to be translators?
Well, they didn't necessarily say that they're going to be translating from another alien language, though that could be what it is. But it was established in one of the articles that came out that there's going to be a cast member there helping you haggle with the shop owner. So I don't know if that means that it is going to be a different sort of language, or if the cast member is just trying to help you out. The language is a little general with it, so sure. it really can go either way at this point.
So there was an announcement, and one of the reasons why I want to bring it up is because there was a recent announcement that there is going to be a Galaxy's Edge comic that's going to be coming out in April. So it's coming up before the land opens. So
Perfect.
It'll be our first real look at what the Black Spire Outpost looks like. It's going to be it's written by the same guy who did the Mace Windu miniseries and the Age of the Republic series, and it's going to be following Doc Ondar, an Ithorian collector of rare antiquities, and you find out what happens when the First Order reaches the edge of wild space. So you get to follow this dude. So I have a feeling that unless he perishes in this 5-issue miniseries, that Doc Ondar, and looking at him, they, because I don't know how Ithorian gendering works, but looks like one of the models that they were working on in one of the behind the scenes video packages.
Yeah.
So and I don't know if this is from somebody who doesn't know if it's even possible to, but just as an example, if you could speak with Doc Ondar, if he doesn't speak Common, if you can speak Ithorian to him and just add to that immersiveness, or if not necessarily a cast member, What if it's a protocol droid?
Huh.
That is operated by somebody behind the curtain or whatever. And so it's, well, yeah, we have all these protocol droids here because they know how many languages? Over 10 million?
6 million forms of communication.
6 million. You got it.
Communication.
Yeah, because it's nonverbal ucha and all sorts of stuff. But if there have ever been, so that's one of mine. If there have ever been canon ways to converse in an alien language, will that be possible? Will you be able to converse with an alien in their native tongue and have an actual conversation?
That would be fascinating. I imagine that would be very challenging to actually do, but...
Oh, sure.
I mean, that would be really cool.
I agree.
I guess I will go to my second one.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, super excited about the cantina. Really, really excited for Rex to be there and for all of the different opportunities for drinks, etc. Because this is such a big deal to finally be serving alcohol in Disneyland, it's a little less of a big deal for over in Orlando, but it's especially a big deal here on the West Coast. The presentation has to be really, really big. And I'm kind of hoping that they do something akin to Trader Sam's over at the hotels with different things happening throughout the bar when you order certain things. Perhaps, I mean, something as simple as maybe your drink smoking when you order it.
Mm-hmm.
But I also would love to see for maybe a standard little side snack, you could order the bread that Rey eats in Force Awakens and you just watch it grow in front of you.
Yeah.
Probably not necessarily a really healthy thing to consume if they could come up with that, but I think that would be pretty cool.
I wonder, well, Disney has a history of giving kids make your own this, make your own that types of food. So I don't think it's that far-fetched to consider that might be an option as well. I just wonder how that would set back, like you mentioned Trader Sam's and the big performances and how things happen in the bar. I wonder how that would affect. It's effectively a quick service location. Now, while people do have to stand around and sit around and drink,
they have to consume it inside of the bar too. They can't leave with it.
So they want to get people in and out as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So maybe the bread there, I would want it to be available in as many places as possible.
Oh, sure.
But maybe it replaces the churro cart or something. Street food is going to be an issue.
Oh man.
Because I saw somebody else posting, and I'm sorry I forget who, about what's the Galaxy's Edge churro gonna be and they have a big old churro cart because people are expecting that sort of thing.
Well, they're not.
I figure they would make it work somehow.
They probably can, but it's you're not going to be walking up to a standard Disney churro cart. That's the one thing that you have to keep in mind. This is going to be fully immersive. There's not going to be obvious signage anywhere for attractions or shops. You're just going to kind of show up and you'll see, oh, okay, this is what this is.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sure there's going to be some version of a churro. But I wonder if they'll actually call it a churro.
I figure there will, because it's an outpost, there will be versions of Earth food just to try to bring visitors in, like try to bring people in from that side of the galaxy. So why not? I don't know.
I kind of don't want to see a churro in Galaxy's Edge. That would just pull me out of it too quickly.
Well, people can bring them in.
Well, sure. But I don't want to just show up to one of the street food vendors and they'll be like, here you go. Just doesn't feel as special to me.
I could imagine right before you go in through one of the gates. That will be like the last bastion of theme park stuff.
Yeah.
Similarly to how there are carts almost everywhere and on almost any transitional walkway, so that people get the I'll eat while I walk. There'll be ice cream vendor in one place. Essentially, along the Small World Mall, all of that stuff will be peppered along all of the entrances, especially the one closest to Critter Country, because that's kind of the longest walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for one of mine, I want it to be different every day. And by that, I mean different aliens running the carts or running the sales, or at least, similarly how any employee, but it's more of they have more than one costume, or you're lucky that IG-88 is out on a job because he was looking for you, or something like that. I want the cast to revolve, which gives you more of a reason to come back, as opposed to here's the point of contention, and why I almost didn't want to bring this up, is because then it's similar to a Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion situation where, oh, well, I wanted to see the original mansion. Oh, well, that's during this part of the year, or you could go to Florida. So it's more of a, what type of an experience do you want the traveling guest to experience? And is it somebody who's going to be here all weekend? Do you want to give them the same experience every single day? Or do you want them to have something different every single time? And maybe it's a Monday, Wednesday is the same thing. Or I'm sorry, Sunday, Wednesday is the same thing. Monday, Thursday is the same thing. And then Tuesday, Friday is the same thing. And Saturday is whatever. So like there's a certain revolving script, maybe. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but the story that they're trying to tell changes from day to day, which requires different players. We've heard things about the First Order, we've heard things about the Resistance, but what about, I want to hear more about the bounty hunters, I want to hear more about pirates. There's I know I keep going back to news things, but this was really something that we didn't really talk about because we haven't focused on Star Wars news, and I haven't looked at a lot of heavy Star Wars news in a really long time because I haven't had to. But one of the characters that I don't know if you're that familiar with, who was in Rebels and in Clone Wars, Captain Hondo, who's a pirate. So he's voiced by Jim Cummings. So nice. It's a voice that's very recognizable, but he is a shifty pirate captain who started out really sort of illustrious when you meet him during the Clone Wars period. And then by the time you meet him in Rebels, he doesn't have a ship, he doesn't have a crew, he doesn't have anything. And his one crewmate is Ezra, because Ezra just kind of listened to this crazy old man. And so there is and that was another thing. Speaking of concept art that we saw in the announcement video, there looked like a Weequay, who is I've got a picture of Hondo right here so that she can look at it.
Okay.
There was a picture of a Weequay, and when I saw it, I went, Hondo, that's perfect. And so there is a book coming out about the Millennium Falcon featuring Hondo, Han, and Chewie. Oh. Like the cover, so the book is called Pirate's Price. It's under the Flight of the Falcon line, and it starts on Batuu. But it does take place in the non-Harrison solo period. I can't think of the actor's name, and he's staring at me dead in the face.
I don't remember his name. What's the boy's name? Hold on. I'm gonna get it.
Hold on. We'll get there. And don't you show me Harrison Ford. Alden Ehrenreich. It's in the Alden era, but we have Hondo.
He's a nice boy.
He's a very nice boy.
We like him.
Hondo's trying to recruit pirates to his crew, and since he has this may sound weird as it comes out of my mouth, because it sounds weird as I'm thinking about it, as he goes after impressionable children like Ezra. So it's like there's history of it, so it's not just like that. This could be something like the kids get to be space pirates. It's a whole lot of fun, and you're just doing a lot of weird, dumb, petty theft sort of a thing. Like, can you imagine if you get involved in the criminal side of, and this goes to the world being that much more in depth and realistic. Can you imagine a world where if you choose to be a part of the crime of the world, it's baked into the price that you can steal things? So like you and Hondo try to pull this scheme, and you'll probably get caught so that you don't actually steal anything, so that you can teach kids that stealing is wrong. But can you imagine pulling off like a tiny little score of, let's say, the churro cart, whatever, and there are quote credits, like you so you steal credits, but it's just the currency of Batu, and it's not like actual currency, so it's kind of like souvenir. For example, it's like souvenir doubloons. So you pull off this score, and as a result, well, here's the other thing: Hondo ends up keeping all of the money, but he like flips you one coin, so you get a souvenir coin for being a part of this experience. But like that immersiveness of it, we haven't heard about the bounty hunters, we haven't heard about the pirates. I want to hear more about that, and I think Hondo would be a perfect sort of fight. Like, why can't I think of it? About the mice and the fife player, Pied Piper. He'd be the perfect space Pied Piper, pirate Pied Piper, Pied Pirate. Let's go with that.
Well, and the thing too with the Millennium Falcon attraction, you're going to be sent on a mission, and while I'm sure a lot of people have probably been associating that mainly with fighting with the resistance or this or that, what I immediately was like, oh, okay, we're on a job. We're on a smuggler job. And depending on how you do with that job, that's going to follow you around the land. They're going to call you out. You're going to, if you don't land nicely, they're going to say, hey, the boss did not like the way you landed the Falcon. That was not okay, what you just did.
Yeah.
So
sorry, really quickly, just to sort of interrupt, because we have a breaking piece of theme park news.
Woohoo!
That is mind-blowing. So today, or no, I'm sorry, not today, but just Shanghai Disney Resort has announced a new expansion of its theme park. When it opens, Zootopia will become the 8th themed land at the world's newest Disney theme park, and the first Zootopia themed land at any Disney park. And it looks like downtown with the piece of art that they share.
Oh, that's awesome.
It looks super cool. I don't know what sort of attractions they'll have. Maybe some sort of a gazelle show where you get to see Shakira live. Who knows? But oh boy, what a piece of news. Now let's go back to Star Wars.
Then we'll talk about that on another day.
We'll talk about that on another day. So
super exciting.
Yeah, we'll blue sky some Zootopia attractions. We'll have to watch it again. But what's your number 3?
So this is something that was talked about earlier on, back in 2017. Mark and I had the pleasure of going to Celebration over in Orlando. We did a massive, intense Florida-Orlando trip. So besides going to the parks, we went to a Star Wars convention. And there was a panel for Galaxy's Edge and what was happening with Imagineering in conjunction with Lucasfilm. And we had some amazing speakers at that panel.
Yeah.
And they talked about having real, near you, close to your face, lightsabers of performers just walking around. And when they said this to the group that was in the hall, I mean, we all freaked out. We were super excited. It was interesting too, because the panelists that were at this one, they were very generous with information. When we went to D23 that same year, only a few months later, we tried to talk to some of the Imagineering representatives about it, and they just kept kind of looking at each other, and then they would go, "We can't tell you anything about that."
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things. We would ask. I figured very simple, my experience working on press for things, I know what questions not to ask because they can't answer those questions. And so I thought one of the simple things, because they talked about it, they referenced it a little bit, was about the signage. They said there would be no like actual theme park-esque signing of directions here, restrooms, this, that, the other thing. So I asked but there would be some sort of indicator of where things were. So I asked very plainly, what does that mean that the signs are going to be in Arabesh, which is sort of the universal alien language that's on all of the merch, it's everywhere. Like anything on Star Tours, all of the arrival departure times, they're in Common and Arabesh, which are two of the most common, one of them is even called that, languages, written languages at least, in the galaxy. And they were like, we can't answer that. It was like, that wasn't okay.
They wouldn't answer any questions, actually. No. I was pretty surprised that they even bothered having anyone there to talk to, because they even had a whole information desk related to Galaxy's Edge. Anything you'd ask them. I mean, I feel like if I had asked them, is the sky going to be blue when we're there, they wouldn't have given us an answer to that. We can't answer that. Anyway, we haven't heard anything more about the real in-person close to you lightsabers since that day over at Celebration. And I am hoping that this is still something that's going to happen. And if not as any walk-around characters or placemaking on the streets, then at the very least in the First Order versus Resistance attraction.
What?
With Kylo Ren at least lighting up his lightsaber and seeing that effect. Mm-hmm. If Imagineering has to have it separate from guests so that they're not too close up, I'm totally fine with it. I just want to see a lightsaber lit up and it look real and not see some sort of glass holding something.
Well, I wonder,
or whatever.
They can really make anything work within the story of the land if they tell it well enough. Like, if the reason Batuu has become such a hotspot, and I still need to read that, the most recent Thrawn book, not the new one, not Treason, but the one before that features Batuu heavily. And if there's some sort of a Kyber depository or something, or if this is a big Kyber planet, and that's what brings some additional attention to it, or if there's just a black market manufacturer of lightsabers, so it doesn't make like a perfect lightsaber, but it makes an operational one.
Yeah.
And so that way you can design those to be operational and look good and be proper, because they're not the quote, well, yeah, we're not at the height of the Jedi anymore, so why nobody makes lightsabers like that anymore.
Yeah.
This is the new way to make lightsabers, whatever they say about it. Or maybe the manufacturing of it will have something to do with however Rey's turns out in Episode 9.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or because Luke's lightsaber was split in half thanks to the Force. But I agree. We got a lightsaber.
Yeah, we gotta have those lightsabers, guys.
And how do you
make it happen?
How do you regulate that? Because if they make it so cool that on an off chance every single person walking through Galaxy's Edge has a lightsaber, how do you make it so that it's not just a giant fight? People are like, it's fine, let's go. Like, what sort of regulation? Because like in the Resistance area, it would seem a little bit more lax, where people are like, you're training. But in the First Order area, in the Black Spire Outpost proper, where there's a heavy First Order presence, you probably wouldn't be able to get away with it, or else you'll be taken to the stockade or whatever.
Have Rey there. Just have her
help
with some supplemental semi-Jedi in training, if that's what they're even going to call themselves, potentially Force wielders, Just be careful about it. And even if you as a guest can't actually hold it, I just want to see it. That's all I want. It would, obviously, I really do want to hold it, but I'd understand if they wouldn't allow me to hold it.
Huh.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my last one, I don't know how doable this is in California, but I think it'll definitely be doable in Florida. And that's, it hasn't even opened yet. I know this is really silly to talk about something like this, but phase 2, the expansion, it needs to be able to expand and to be able to properly, if you're going for, actually, there is a way that it would expand in California, but nobody wants to talk about getting rid of Toontown.
I mean, lots of people actually are willing to get rid of Toontown. I don't think it's a great idea to get rid of Toontown, but
I wonder what the numbers are for PhotoPass. Because those are 2 places where you can guaranteed meet Mickey and Minnie.
Yeah.
That's another thing. You can usually meet some kind of character in all of the lands that are themed to it. And this is sort of offshooting. But how do character meet and greets work on Batuu? How do you make the PhotoPass people look like PhotoPass people and it not just being like a weird self-indulgent thing of like, yeah, meet the heroes of the Resistance or meet the heroes of the First Order?
Yeah, no, they can't do that. They have to leave Tomorrowland for that. They can't have Galaxy's Edge do that. It would be too weird. Now, if one of the characters happens to be passing by and you are like, hey, let's take a selfie, then they might be like, what's a selfie? Or
oh, that's going to get tired fast. They'll just say, yeah. I can imagine. But expansion is mostly what I'm thinking about, because this is so specific to seemingly a period of time right around episode 9. And we don't know how episode 9 is going to shake out yet, but it's between the First Order and the Resistance, so we have our time period. This is at the very least, when did the Resistance start? Like 5 years, a year or two, maybe 5 years before the beginning of Force Awakens, until if the First Order is defeated by the end of episode 9. So that chunk of time, like this happens within a 10-year chunk of time, where do you go from there? Do you make a retro style where or you make a different planet? It's very difficult for what they're accomplishing with this land. Do you make more Batuu? Do you make it another planet? And do you have a Harry Potter-esque train ride where you get into a transport?
That's what I was going to say.
You get into
it's got to be a different place. You got to go on a transport somewhere else. Completely different environment.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem out of the question. It seems very possible. But if this makes them all of the boatloads of cash that we know it's going to make them, there will be plans, but how do they make that work? And if the rumors of a Universal Orlando, Fourth Gate come true, then where does that leave the Star Wars franchise? They won't stop here. So
no, but they're more cautious now. That's the thing. Because of what happened with Solo in terms of performing at the box office, they've put a lot of original plans either canceled or on hold. Obviously, we're going to get episode 9 and it's going to finally finish off the Skywalker saga. Mm-hmm. But after that, who knows? I'm still hoping we get an Obi-Wan movie, because that's something that I would really love to see, and I'd love to see Ewan McGregor come back and do that.
Yeah.
But past that, Star Wars as it is already such a large franchise, and it's going to make them money no matter what. But the question is, what do they want to synergize? What do they want to continue to tie in? Are they going to make any more movies after the fact, because originally they said they were going to. But the brakes have been hit, at least for the moment. And it's going to be a little bit of a wait and see approach, I think.
Well, I think also from purchase of the license of the brand of the company to now, the digital landscape has changed a lot as well. We have The Mandalorian coming out. And so before, there were different ways to fill the needs of content. And right now, we've got a cartoon on with Resistance. We're getting a TV show with The Mandalorian. We're after episode 9. As you said, who knows what's going to happen, but it's not going to stop.
No.
So I think, quote, numbered movies are going to continue. We might get we're getting a new saga. Rian Johnson's writing a saga, the Game of Thrones guys.
That's been canceled.
Was it been actually 100% canceled?
At least last I heard, Ryan was on the outs. People got too mad from Last Jedi, and the flack was just a little too intense. But I did hear that the Game of Thrones producers were still potentially on docket to do something.
As far as Rian Johnson's trilogy is still on. I just checked a couple of websites.
Okay.
Like there was rumor, but back in September, Rian Johnson confirmed that his trilogy is still happening. Yeah, I don't want us to get lambasted.
Oh, sure.
But
there's been a lot of rumors and hearsay.
Sure. Well, I mean, we are getting that remake of The Last Jedi, so we have that to look forward to. But back in August, it was as simple as, "Hey, are you still working on your Star Wars trilogy?" And he just went, "Yup." Fist bump. So so we're getting more, regardless. And what I think the one thing that will really piss off the quote real fans of Star Wars is if they give Rian Johnson the Old Republic. And we get the tale of Darth Revan and all of that Old Republic meaty juiciness that everybody has been wanting for a decade, I would say. I was going to say decades, but it hasn't been that. Oh God, it might have been that long. Either way, if they give him that, and that way you don't need a transport because you're going to an entirely different time and place. And so where that would fit in California, no idea. But in terms of Florida, it would be, I would expect it to be on like another side of the Hollywood Studios park.
Yeah.
Or another park.
Maybe. Or maybe just turn that entire park into a Star Wars park at this point.
Yeah.
Except for Tower of Terror.
Just go for it. Yeah, no, you change it to a different sort of a theme. Or you just pick it up and you move Tower of Terror somewhere else. And then you're like, okay, we're good. You can move everything else.
Magic.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tinkerbell.
Yeah, why not? So let us know what you want to see from Galaxy's Edge. We're in the thick of it. It's coming.
Yeah.
Whether we want it or not, we're months away.
I'm so excited.
The end of May, beginning of June, we're going to start to see glimpses. Or you can check out the comic that's dropping in April, which I'm pretty excited for. I want to figure out how we can get that because I want that.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think by dropping us a line at PartyOf2Pod on Twitter. Make sure you check us out on anchor.fm/PartyOf2. That's where you can find out any of the variety of ways that you can listen to us. I mean, I know you're listening to us now, but if it's inconvenient, then you can find a podcast carrier of your choice and subscribe there. You could also support us with a financial donation, and it will really go a long way to help us with the show. Tell your friends if you're a theme park fan. Tell your friends. We're always looking for more people to join the Party of Two fam. But until next time, Andrea, where can the folks find you?
You can find me at Dole Whip Drea on Instagram and on Twitter.
Oh, and it was we celebrated your birthday over the weekend. I wanted to hit that at the top because we had like a mini theme park a theme park adjacent extravaganza.
Yeah.
Because we went to Universal just for butterbeer. we looked at construction.
Yes. That's what I wanted. That's all I wanted.
But then we went to the El Capitan in Hollywood, and there was to see The Little Mermaid, So we had a Disney experience there that was park-ish. Ariel was there. She was meeting all of the kids, and she did a weird dance and waved a little bit too
and
quickly.
Confetti came out.
And confetti exploded. I had a Mickey Mouse pretzel with the wrong cheese. And then later in the evening, we stopped by we just happenstanced by a Disney store and got Olaf to wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah, that was magical.
And it was very strange. I don't know, this is a very weird experience, and I don't know how many people have had it. If you have a Disney store near you, be in there when it closes, because it's not like the closing of a Disney park where they sing the Mickey Mouse theme song and wish everybody a good night, but they played It's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow.
And we were the only ones, I think, in the store who knew what it was and got really excited.
Yeah, we were singing. Well, at least I was singing along. But it was, make sure to join us tomorrow, and because tomorrow is just a dream away. And then it's dum bum bum bum, and it started right up. And we left, like, we just happenstance by the store.
Yeah.
I can't stress this enough. And we ended up having, you got a birthday button with Olaf on it, and we had an amazing 20 minutes at a Disney store.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
It was great.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
And it made us want to go back to Florida to see the Carousel of Progress.
Yeah. Miss it.
Well, happy birthday, darling.
Thank you.
And everybody tweet.
Happy unbirthday to you.
To me?
To you.
That's me. Make sure to tweet your birthday and unbirthday wishes to Andrea, depending on what day you get to it, at DoleWhipDre. You can follow me at Mark B. Donica. I do a bunch of other podcasts, and I'm on the internet doing a whole bunch of things, so you might want to follow me there for whatever, because we may start... one of the things that I wanted to do in 2019 is to start interacting with other podcasts, whether it's ones that I produce or otherwise, and I'm trying to get our name out there and trying to talk to more people about the goodness that are coming to the Disney parks and further beyond that. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Follow any of those, DoleWhipDre or Mark B. Donica, or here at Party of Two Pod. Thank you for listening, and we want to hear what you want at Galaxy's Edge. Tweet at us, but we will see you on the next ride.